Welcome to How Do They Afford That, the podcast that peeks into the financial lives of everyday Australians. I'm Michael Thompson. I'm a writer and the co-host of the podcast Fear and Greed Business News. And as always, I'm with Canna Campbell, financial planner and founder of Sugar Mama TV, the financial literacy platform that you will find basically everywhere. It is on YouTube and podcasts like this one, and books, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Instagram. I don't know whether I mentioned Instagram, but you're definitely there.
Now you have.
Yeah, now I may have done it twice. Hello, Canna. How are you going?
Hi. This episode is very timely right now because I just received a text message from Optus asking if I'd like to upgrade my handset and I would get a $1,500 gift card. So I am busting at the seams for this.
You are straight into the money, as always, which you would expect on a podcast like this. We are doing something a little bit different today. The name of the podcast, obviously, is How Do They Afford That? And partly that was kind of inspired by the idea of keeping up with the Joneses, of needing to spend a lot of money, to kind of looking at what other people are buying. The big screen TV, maybe, the new phone, another kind of gadget, and wondering, how do they afford that? And how do I do that as well?
Finding everyone's little secrets, little hacks.
So we are taking that idea and we are thinking, surely there is a way to have the latest technology, some pretty good tech, without having to pay absolute top dollar. And so today we are looking at affordable technology and we are focusing specifically on mobile technology. So mobile phones and your wearables, your smartwatches and AirPods and earbuds and various headphone options. There is so much to discuss. And to do that, we are getting some help from somebody who has tested and reviewed pretty much every gadget ever invented, which might be a little bit of a stretch, but I reckon it's not too far from the truth. Stephen Fennick is one of Australia's top technology journalists. He is the editor of techguide.com.au. Stephen, welcome to How Do They Afford That?
Great to be here, and I'm happy I'll be able to give you some advice on all these, being able to afford all the tech, because you're right, it is like trying to keep up with the Joneses. You want to have the latest and greatest, but you don't want to break the bank in the process.
Is it the case that you don't have to pay a fortune to get something pretty good? Because I am a bit of a sucker for the branding, and suddenly then you can just get drawn straight into the premium brands and you're paying premium prices, but you don't have to.
No, not at all. I think, obviously the brands build ecosystems like Apple, Samsung, they bring you in, but there are other brands out there and other devices that you can achieve the same thing. Might not look as premium, but you're getting the same things done. You're getting the same work done. You're putting the same photos on social media. So there are ways around it.
Shall we jump straight into phones? Because, Canna, you've already brought this. You brought this up within the first 15 seconds of the podcast.
Sorry, I'm so greedy. Hogging you. So when it comes to phones, do you really need to have like the latest state-of-the-art, fresh off the press?
Well, the answer is no, you don't. The beauty of the smartphone category now is that it's actually it's becoming quite mature. So a lot of the technology that was like 5 or 6 years ago considered flagship technology has now filtered down to a phone that you can buy for $200. So things like Face ID, big screens, good quality displays, the speed of the processors, they're all now. They're all pretty good. So you get a lot of bang for your buck for those phones that are $200 to $500. And look, not everyone buys an iPhone. Not everyone buys the latest Galaxies from Samsung. So the bulk of the market is in this mid-tier, which is seeing there's a lot of competition in that area.
Let's start at the top end then and work our way down, maybe, because the iPhones, really, they are the ones that get all the buzz.
Yeah.
And you get all of these phones.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Because it is your job. And often you are flown to the US to see the keynote speeches and to review all of them. So you see all of the technology. Do you think it is worth spending how much actually is the new iPhone 16?
The new iPhone, I think the 16 starts at about $13.99, which is actually cheaper than last year. They've actually brought the price down by $100. That's the 16 and 16 Plus. The Pro range is $50 cheaper. So Pro range, obviously a bit more premium, better camera. 16, still latest processors and all the latest tech. But look, I think if you want to be on the cutting edge, if you want the best camera, you want the best looking phone, then people are going to spend that money.
Yeah.
But even if you do make an investment, like let's use the iPhone as the example. It's now become a thing where how long do you hang on to that phone? So you've spent X amount of dollars, a couple of $1,000s, and that phone's going to probably last you 3, 4, perhaps even 5 years. So it's now become, I think, my advice to people is if you want to upgrade, look after the phone you've got, because it could be the trade-in that makes the next one even cheaper.
So you put it in a case, for one thing. Actually, put a screen
First
protector
thing,
on.
and a screen protector. Yeah,
Well,
so protect it, yeah.
Also, might I add, save the box. Because if you want to maybe not necessarily trade it in, but actually sell it on, say, Gumtree or Facebook Marketplace, because sometimes you can get a little bit more. It might be a bit of a hassle, but if it comes with the box and it's looking almost brand new, you can actually get a premium.
Very good advice, yeah.
Just take us through the trade-ins, because you mentioned that just in passing, and there's a few different ways to do it. One might be through Apple, for instance, and other are actually through the telco providers.
Yeah, well, the telcos, whenever there's a new iPhone, new Samsung phone, they're the two big tent poles that they aim at, and they offer really aggressive trade-ins. So the telcos, the text message you received was a way for them to keep you as a customer by dangling this gift card in front of you. So we'll think, okay, that's pretty good value. I could put that towards the new iPhone or whatever device you want to buy. But then the proviso would be you stay a customer for another 3 years. You sign a 3-year contract. Telstra the same. Vodafone had very aggressive iPhone deals as well. Even Samsung, whenever there's a new Samsung device, their pre-order program, it outlines all the trade-in options you have, and also the telcos also throw in bonus pre-order offers like a free tablet or earphones or watches and things like that. So it's all about keeping you as a customer.
Can you haggle? Can you say, well, could I go to Optus and say, well, I've been with you a long time, Optus. I've heard Vodafone are being very aggressive right now.
Yeah,
can you match what they're offering?
Of course you can. Yeah, it's a very
really exciting.
very competitive market. They don't want to lose you as a customer. That's actually a good tactic if you want to get a better deal. Even the deal that they've offered you sounds pretty good to begin with, but if you want more, go for it.
Look at Michael shaking his head
I'm not
at me.
shaking my head. I'm just, Stephen, you've just given Canna the green light to haggle, which is just like, that is music to her ears, because you have never seen someone that just gets more satisfaction out of bargaining with someone.
It appears to me Canna's not uncomfortable haggling. I've got to say, I'm not either. Like I've got a European background, so we're hagglers anyway. They can only say no. Is what my mother told me. They can only say no.
Nothing to lose,
exactly,
and so much to gain, like a new iPhone. Hello.
Before we move on from iPhones, we're talking about not needing to spend the top dollar in order to get something pretty good. You mentioned there that there is the 16 Pro and the 16 Plus and the regular 16. Do you need to get the 16 Pro? Does it come down to what you're going to use it for, or are you okay going for essentially what is the bargain version, being the base level 16?
Yeah, I think it comes down to what you're going to use it for. I've been asked 100 times for the 16 or the 16 Pro. My advice is, if you're really into your photography, if you're creating content, if that's what you love to do, then the Pro would be your option. If you're just a customer who wants a nice fast phone that can take good photos without you having to do anything, the 16 is fine. But again, the whole market, like even entry-level phones, have 2-3 lens camera systems and can take great photos. Like I've done many a review where I've used a $300 phone for 2 weeks as my daily driver, and did my usual social media sharing and posts and everything, and not one person said, "Oh, that photo's not as good quality as what you normally share." No one noticed that I was using a different phone apart from an iPhone. So the quality's there, even at that more affordable level. And brands to look for, like Oppo, they've got a lot of good mid-range phones. You look at Nokia. Nokia have made this amazing comeback with a great range of Android devices as well.
You're kidding?
Yeah, and they've been in the market with Android phones that cost less than $300, and really great phones, like good, well-made, really nice quality to them, and they're $300, $400. But they're running Android. See, Apple don't have, the cheapest phone Apple has is the iPhone SE, I think, which is about $800.
Okay.
But I don't think Apple knows how to make a cheap product. It's premium all the way for Apple.
And part of that is the brand, isn't it? It's also kind of there is a risk if they suddenly put out one for $500, it can cheapen the brand in a way.
Samsung. Samsung's the number one mobile phone manufacturer in the world. Reason for that is because they've got a phone that costs $199 and a photo that costs $3,000. They've got a variety in their range. So they've got their A series, which is the more affordable. Then they've got their S series, which is their flagship. They've got the folding phones. They've got something for everyone. Apple, they're a highly profitable company because they only sell premium, expensive phones, whereas Samsung sell not only the premium but also bulk in those other categories as well.
The mid-range phones, I think that is fascinating. The fact that, and you started with that point about how some of those premium features of phones have now filtered down.
Absolutely.
And that I think is actually really, really exciting. The fact that you do not need to pay $1,500, that you could pay $300 or $400 and get something that's going to do the job.
I think there'd be a lot of parents listening to this and their child wants their first phone, right? Their child's 12, 13, whatever age they're going to give their child their first phone. And naturally, a child's going to say, I want an iPhone. And if you can afford to give your child an iPhone, then good luck. Good luck to you. But usually it's one of these more affordable Android devices that are given out. And they find that they can do just as well as the other devices. They can still share content and look at apps and play games and do whatever they need to do. And it's at a fraction of the price. The
only problem with when you deviate away from a mainstream, if you get stuck with the phone and don't know how to fix it, you've got to find someone who knows. Like, I'm always asking my 11-year-old to help me fix something on my phone. He's like, here, no problem. It's fixed within seconds. It's basically Android and iOS. So it's the two operating systems. So whatever applies to the top-of-the-line Samsung or the more affordable Nokia, it's still Android at the end of the day. Yeah.
Nokia, that is, it is such a well-known brand, particularly if you're of a certain age and your first phone was like a 3310 or something like that, and it was just the little kind of unbreakable brick.
Yeah. I think I found one in a drawer, and it still had battery. I turned it on, and it's still turned on. Would you believe?
That is extraordinary.
Yeah, the batteries, because all you did was make calls and send text messages.
And play Snake.
Play Snake as well. And the battery used to last forever, so that was great.
That is amazing. Okay, so Nokia, and did you say Oppo, was it?
Oppo, yeah. HMD is another brand. HMD stands for Human Mobile Devices. They're actually the parent company now of Nokia. HMD is a Finnish company, so from Finland.
Okay.
They've got their own brand of phones as well. And again, they've got a play here where their phones are designed to be affordable, but also easily repairable. So they can sell you a kit. So if you break a screen or stuff up the charging port, they'll send you a kit at $100 and you can fix it yourself. So again, adds to the longevity of the device, and you're not having to upgrade.
And that's a mid-range.
Yeah, that's $399, that phone. Yeah.
That is incredible.
And that could last you for years. If you want to upgrade, if you need a new battery or a new screen, you can just get the fix-it kit and you can do it yourself.
That is great to know, because you often see them in see these phones in supermarkets, and you see the big display.
Yeah.
And I remember being, as a kid, like, you'd go over and start looking at them all, and that would be, you question the quality of some of these things, but it's great to know now that those premium features are now filtering down and that you can get these. So, okay,
and just one last thing, though, the refurbished phones are also massive too. So second-hand phones. So if when you trade your iPhone in or whoever, that then is sold to someone else. So if it's in good condition, then someone else can pick up an iPhone 13 at an affordable price.
And you can buy refurbished phones, I think, on Amazon.
You can buy them on Boost Mobile, at Coles. Everyone sells refurbished phones now. Yeah.
Okay, you've given us a fairly decent shopping list.
Oh, sorry, I have one last question.
Oh, go on.
Sorry, my afternoon is going to be very busy now. Storage on phones.
Yes.
There's a big difference in price when it comes to storage. And my phone constantly, Mike is now nodding his head, glad that I asked this question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is it worth paying that bit more to have more storage? Because my phone is constantly running out of space.
So you mean on-device storage. So that's how Apple distinguishes their different variants is you can get terabyte, 512 gig. So, and the more memory, the more cost. So Apple's got a price structure. Yeah, that's right. If you are taking a lot of photos, a lot of videos, then it is worth having more storage, or you can maybe pay for more cloud storage. So cloud storage is cheaper than paying extra storage on your device. So that's an option as well. So like if you're an iPhone user, you can use iCloud. If you're an Android user, you've got Google Photos, OneDrive, all the Dropbox, all these other ways to save offline. But no, that is another consideration, because that alters the price of the phone when you buy it. So a lot of phones too, a lot of the mid-range Android phones also have expandable memory. So they come with little micro SD card slots. So rather you only get, I think, 128 gig on the phone, but you could put a terabyte memory card in it, and that's your memory then on the device. And you can take that and put it in another phone as well.
I tried doing that. It didn't work.
I suspect that could be operator error.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Knowing Canna, it is highly likely. Yeah, because considering most times when we are in the studio to record the podcast, you walk in and the first thing you are looking for whenever we walk into the studio is, does anybody have a phone charger? I have never seen you turn up with your phone fully charged. I suspect it. Look at it. It is actually plugged in over
portable
next to
battery.
the wall.
I think you need a portable battery.
I have a bit of anxiety over plugging it and charging it, and I can't sit still. I'm always moving around, so I need to have my phone in my pocket, and I can't stay close.
Have you thought about doing it overnight, charging it?
That's another. Well, because I have to listen to my iPhone at night time to fall asleep and stay asleep, so I need it close to my head.
You can charge it while you're doing that. Yeah, just plug it in.
No, I know, but that means sleeping in a position in the bed close to the wall.
Okay, wow.
It's a big thing, okay?
May I make a suggestion? My favourite gadget, and I know this is actually not about my recommendations, it's about yours, but I'm going to give one anyway. The Journey chargers. I love them because they are not a sponsor of the show. We'd certainly welcome them as one, but they are just so clean and so nice to look at, and it's the magnet. I'm going to use all the wrong terminology
so it's
here.
MagSafe, MagSafe.
Yep. So you just clip it on, you just sit it on, and it just sits there, and you can adjust the angle, and you can spin it around if you want to watch something while it's charging.
There's a few of those.
You can then take your watch off.
I have a few of those in our house.
And you put it on the back.
Yeah,
and it charges it.
Charge your AirPods too.
Okay, I still can't get over the line with it.
Plenty of brands that make those. Journey, STM, there's heaps of them that make those. They're really handy beside the bed. It's really good.
Oh, it is amazing. Canna, we're going to leave your problems with charging your phone behind for the moment.
A lot of issues.
We have just scratched the surface, haven't we? But look, we've made a good list of phones. So we've got Apple and Samsung, obviously the two giants within the industry. But then also consider those mid-range brands of Oppo, Nokia, HMD.
HMD, yep.
Really good ideas, just things to consider, and consider your trade-ins.
Yeah, even I throw in Motorola, make a great range of mid and high-level phones as well.
Okay.
Yeah, plenty to consider.
Yeah, indeed. This is a blast from the past. Does Alcatel still make any phones?
Alcatel, they transitioned to TCL. TCL, they were selling in Australia. I think then they're not selling in Australia anymore. They are in other countries, but Alcatel, they were your budget phone. They then were, because they were owned by TCL, they branded to TCL, but I'm not sure whether they're still selling phones in Australia right now.
You are unable to be stumped. I thought I was going to get you with this one. And no, you were all over that one. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back then and look at some other elements of mobile technology. I want to get your thoughts on watches, smartwatches, and AirPods and earbuds and headphones and the various other kind of options for how to listen to things. We'll be right back. Canna, we are talking today about affordable technology, and we are joined in the studio by Stephen Fennick, the editor of techguide.com.au, who's done an admirable job of taking us through all the various options for mobile phones and given us a few ideas. We want to look now at some of the other versions of
the accessories.
The accessory. Oh, here we go. Canna is very excited now. Can we start with watches?
Sure.
Because it seems like every second person that you see now is wearing an Apple Watch.
Yeah.
Are they the market leader, I'm assuming?
Oh, yeah, runaway market leader. In fact, it's 10 years since they announced the first Apple Watch. So they've taken hold of the market right there. And naturally, Apple Watches only work with iPhone. So there's an attachment there. So if you need to have an iPhone to use an Apple Watch. And they've become, over the years, not only, I think they started out as being a great way to get your notifications and to make sure you don't miss a call, but they've turned into these amazing health and wellness products that can do things from detecting if you've got atrial fibrillation or low heart rate, or if you've had a fall, it can send a message and call an ambulance and do all these kinds of things. So become more a medical device, if anything, over the years.
How accurate are they really? Because I read Why We Sleep by, I think it's Dr. Matthew Walker, and he actually rubbished them and said all of these devices are so inaccurate. The only way of actually monitoring the quality of your sleep and obviously all the different movements and cycles that you go through is through proper medical equipment.
Yeah.
An iPhone is obviously not a medical device.
It's more a guide, though, isn't it?
The iPhone, the features like the Apple Watch features, like the AFib, for example, like you can do a ECG on your watch. And that needed medical clearance for that to be allowed to be used in Australia. So in terms of accuracy, it's accurate to you. So it's accurate if you are consistently using one device to monitor how you sleep or how you're exercising or whatever, then it is accurate to you. So if you went into a professional lab, then the results might slightly differ, but it is consistent in measuring you based on its own metrics day to day, if you understand what I mean. So you're getting consistent results, might not agree with another way of measurement, but you are still able to gauge where you stand in terms of your sleep and your heart rate and your exercise and stuff like that.
And also an easy way to verify the heart rate is just to monitor it on your phone and take your pulse at the same time. And you can kind of verify, get just a rough idea of how accurate it actually is going to be. To bring it back to the money side, though, in terms of these, the medical features, and you are right, a lot of the talk, particularly after the most recent Apple launch in the US, is about the fact that it is this big push into health. Yeah. And there is an acknowledgement, obviously, there that the population, the world's population is getting older, and there's a lot more awareness now of keeping ourselves healthy. And so Apple have identified this as a growth area for their business. Yeah. Do we need to be paying top dollar on the devices in order to get some of those health features?
Well, in this instance, I'd say yes.
Okay.
Because the Apple Watches, we'll use that as the example. It only works with the iPhone. Mm-hmm. So that little closed little ecosystem is actually quite accurate because the hardware, the software is all produced by Apple. Okay. So in that instance, I would say yes. There are other smartwatches. You can get an Android smartwatch or a Samsung sell a great range of smartwatches that can work on multiple devices. I think including an iPhone. You can install the Samsung Wear app on an iPhone and use a Samsung watch.
Okay.
So you're able to do. There's a lot of watches you can use with an iPhone, but if it's just about tracking your steps and telling the time and getting a call, then you might be able to opt for something cheaper. But if you want it to be at this proper, let's call it medical grade, I wouldn't skimp on that. I bought my dad, he passed away unfortunately, but I bought my dad years ago an Apple Watch because he would often get a high heart rate for no particular reason. And the Apple Watch was able to give him an alert when that was happening, so he could actually take that information and show it to his doctor. So it was accurate enough for a doctor to look at that chart and go, okay, we need to do a couple of tests. Turned out it was nothing. It was just he had a bit of AFib sometimes, but there was another case where a 16-year-old girl kept getting low heart rate notifications on her Apple Watch.
This is my friend's daughter.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, she was thinking, I'm young, I'm good. This is not right. Anyway, she rocks up to a doctor one time. She goes, look, I keep getting these notifications. He checks. He goes, you've got you need a surgery.
Yeah.
You've got a heart condition.
And she did.
And saved a life. So in this instance, like fall detection is another great example. Fall detection, like there was a case of a guy riding his bike through the Victorian Highlands or something, got knocked off his bike by a kangaroo, knocked out. He woke up in an ambulance because his Apple Watch detected the fall, called 000, gave them his location, and called one of his contacts.
That is incredible.
So that's, again, a potential lifesaver right there. So
how much are we talking money-wise for say, the latest one with all of
you're looking at plus sort of about 500 plus, depending on which size and what model you buy. The Ultra is I think $1,400 now. The Series 10, I think, starts at about $599 and upwards.
Okay.
So it's, I think, pricing has probably stayed the same the last few years. So, I think affordable enough to have it. If you've already got paid for an iPhone, I'd say then go the rest of the way.
Okay, that's good advice. And what about then the other watches that were out there, kind of like your Fitbits and your Garmin kind of devices. Are they still available? And if you just want to track your steps, then can you just go for those being a more budget option?
Well, that you can still get a tracker, which is kind of how smartwatches started. The wearables started off with the trackers. Remember, you just had a Fitbit and counted your steps, and you had challenges and stuff. And it's become a bit more sophisticated now. But no, you could still make do. Well, Fitbit's actually now owned by Google, so the Google Pixel Watch is it has Fitbit incorporated into it now. So the Pixel Watch is great. It works with Android phones, naturally with Google's own phones. The Samsung Galaxy watches also have similar features to the Apple Watch and work great with not only Android phones, but also I think can work with an iPhone as well. There's plenty of choices. Garmin, if you're more a fitness and you're a sort of outdoor adventurer, and then the Garmin watches have similar features. But again, the Garmin watches are, I think, around $7.99, $8.99, so they're an investment as well.
Wow. Mate, do I want one now?
Or you can just have a normal watch. You have a normal analog watch. Just, regular watch.
But it only tells the time, though.
Well, you know what? Withings has a really good watch. They've got their scan watch. Withings were actually the first company to have an ECG. They beat Apple to having an ECG on their watch.
That's a claim to fame.
Yeah, so the scan watch has a normal face, so typical analog face, but there's a tiny little OLED screen in the top half that gives you the smart. So you got the style and the tech all in one. Okay,
so as far as kind of wearables, as far as watches go, you really do get what you pay for essentially with that. That if you are looking for the health benefits, then you are better actually to fork out the money and get the top end.
You'll see a lot of ads on social media for these smartwatches that cost like $99, $200. They're good for just tracking steps. I wouldn't trust them as a medical grade device. But I think in the case of the smartwatches like Withings, Apple, Samsung, Garmin, those Google Pixels, it's worth spending the money.
Okay, that's good to know. Can we talk about headphones / AirPods / earbuds?
Yes. Big market. And I always, so whenever people ask for recommendations for gifts, I always recommend earphones, headphones, because everyone loves music, male or female, young or old, they're going to like that.
And often now they like podcasts as well.
There you go. Another reason for the popularity, why they were so good.
Yeah. And so... Okay, this is embarrassing. I have always struggled to pick what to use because the ones, the old school earbuds that come on the cord from Apple would never stay in my ears. So I had to go off-brand. I had to go to something else altogether, something that actually came with a little plug that I could wedge into my ear. When I say it like that, it sounds bad.
With the silicon tips on the end.
Exactly.
You need the tips. Yeah.
And someone pointed out to me the other day, you do realise that AirPods now come with a range of different tips.
Well, the AirPods Pro do. The AirPods Pro 2 have 3 different sizes of silicon tips. But Apple's just released the AirPods 4, which are the open style, so no tips. And they've done studies on like tens of thousands of ears to get the right design, and they rest inside your ear quite comfortably, so that you're not jamming something in your ear. But they do rest in there quite comfortably. Yeah, but that's open design as well.
So not my ears.
That's very inclusive of Apple to consider everyone's ear canals and all the different shapes and sizes.
Your ears are like your fingerprints. Everyone's different. There's no 2 ears the same. We've all got different ear shapes and sizes, and everything is quite different. That's why they did this study. They had like 50 million points of data they just looked at to create the new design.
I find such ears and ear canals making me feel a bit nauseous. I have a question for you. My partner, Tom, is extremely messy and loses things all the time, which is why he doesn't have a watch. One of the things he loses on a weekly basis are the AirPods. And so he will lose a $350 pair of AirPods, which obviously really irritates me. Then he will go out and buy like a $20 dupe, dare I say, and then loses those the week later. And then the next week buys the replacement AirPods again. Can you help me?
I can help you because the AirPods have what they call the Find My feature. So they, the AirTags. You have the AirTags which you can find. The AirPods have Find My, so you can actually detect them like you would an AirTag. They have that feature built. If it's the AirPods Pro, it sounds like they're expensive. They would have it already built in. The new AirPods have them as well, so you can look for the case and the actual buds using Find My.
I'm going to have so much fun this afternoon. And when I get home
So you'll find like
JB
15 different AirPods at home.
When we moved house, we discovered a lot when we started moving furniture.
Oh my gosh.
There you go.
So AirPods, I'm assuming there is an equivalent from Samsung?
Yeah. Samsung have their Galaxy Buds, they call them, and again, sort of, it's the same similar ecosystem to they've got the Samsung phone, watch, Buds, Apple phone, Apple Watch, AirPods. That is again built in and features that play into the device. So there's all these easy pairing and these features, easy to answer calls and to talk to your virtual assistant and all those things. Depending on the brand, it obviously AirPods work better with an iPhone. You can pair them to other phones, by the way. AirPods they do pair with other brands of phones. Okay, but there's a bit of process to it.
Is it worth the $300 to $400?
You know what? I think this is an area where you can really save a lot of money. This is a huge area, and there are brands that I reckon that are like very popular, like a brand like JBL. JBL, you can for less than $200 buy active noise cancelling earphones that, in my opinion, are as good as earphones that are twice the cost. So I think the problem with earphones and headphones and the whole audio space is that a lot of us become audio snobs. We look at, it's got to be Bose, it's got to be Sony, it's got to be Sennheiser, it's got to be this. Similar to the car industry, right? You got to have a Mercedes or a BMW. Or the other ones do the trick just the same and just as well, and you're spending less than half of the price of the other models.
But do they have the Find My
some of them
feature?
do. As a matter of fact, some of the other brands have Find My. Like there's other brands like Skull Candy. They're a really
heard they're really good.
They're really punch above their weight there. Their earphones and headphones. They've got really good good active noise cancellation and really good sound quality. Really heavy bass as well. And Belkin's a brand that sell for under $100. You can get earphones with active noise cancellation from Belkin. Belkin also have a range of headphones for children too, cheap for kids with protection for their hearing, so it can't go up a certain level, so that it protects their hearing. Because how many of us when we were younger used to blast our music, and now we're in our middle ages and in middle-aged people with poor hearing. So
that's a great idea.
Belkin have these sort of child-safe headphones as well, but there are so many choices in the headphone space that. Yeah, if you want to spend $500, sure, go get the latest Sony or the Boses or the Sennheisers and all those other great brands. But there's a lot of value to be had with JBL is probably the best example. JBL, Skull Candy, Belkin, they're the brands to look at.
You mentioned that Belkin, you can get them for under $100.
Yep.
What about JBL? What kind of price point are we looking at for those?
They've got headphones and earphones for that under $150 all the way up to $300 and $400, depending on what model you want to buy. But I think the bulk of the market just want a pair of headphones or earphones that sound good, ANC, active noise cancellation, and under $200.
Because there is an element of kind of almost insurance, really. And I'm using kind of Canna and Tom as an example, where sometimes you don't want to go and spend $400 or something, because it does feel like they are the things that are going to get lost the easiest.
I'm like that with sunglasses.
Yeah.
I just can't bring myself to spend $400 on a pair of sunnies because I know I'm going to lose them.
Well, I can give you some advice through Tom. Service station sunglasses.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He buys multiple pairs at a time.
Me too.
Loses all of them, but it's okay because they've cost like $10, $15 each. And some of them are really quite nice.
They look all right. Yeah.
Well, we kind of ended up at a strange place talking about service station sunglasses. But I tell you what, we have covered some ground, but we have not covered all of the ground that I want to cover. So, Stephen, we have done phones. We have done wearables, watches, and we have talked about headphones and AirPods and the like. We have so much more to cover. Are you okay to come back again and do another episode where we look at TVs and computers and smart speakers and smart homes and all of those things?
Absolutely. Look forward to it.
Terrific. Thank you very much. That was Stephen Fennick, one of Australia's top technology journalists and the editor of techguide.com.au. Head along to the website and check out some of the reviews, and just there is so much on offer, and this website really does help you break down a few of the options that are there with some really good, I'm going to say frank and fearless advice. Is that fair?
Fair enough, yeah. Well, my reviews, that's my currency. People trust my opinion and I give it honestly.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much for coming in today, Stephen.
My pleasure.
And Canna, where can we find you if we need more help?
The best place to get in contact with me is Instagram at SugarMamaTV. I have to say, normally after each episode, I feel inspired to go home and save harder and invest more and pay down off more of my mortgage. But after today's episode, I actually feel like I'm going to go out and spend a lot of money.
But not as much as you could have, because hopefully we might have saved you a little bit. So it's really not savings as such, but it could be worse.
You may see me walking around with a new Apple Watch.
Oh, I hope so. And you can hear me every day with Sean Aylmer on Fear and Greed, Australia's best business podcast. Thank you for listening to How Do They Afford That? Remember to hit follow on the podcast, and the best thing that you can do is to tell somebody else, or better yet, send them this episode if they are in the market perhaps for some affordable technology, and spread the word about How Do They Afford That? Thanks for your company. Join us again next week.